Now, Unit 5, Photojournalism, Social Media and Advertising. As usual, we will start with the introduction that has the objectives. The objectives are very important because they lead the way through the unit. You need to make sure that you understand the objectives and you are able to answer and discuss those objectives thoroughly. Number one, you need to understand how photojournalism developed and changed based on technology. And number two, you need to explain the differences and similarities between journalism and photojournalism's ethics. You need to identify the way photojournalism has been affected by the internet, cell phone, and technology, and this is related to number one, so it's important. You need to be able to trace the beginning of social media and how social networks affect journalism and journalists, affect positively and negatively. You need to identify, finally, the types of advertising and advertising's relationships to journalism. So those are the 5 important objectives. They're very important, and you need to be able to identify, explain, discuss, defend them in the unit. Then let's go to lesson 1, which is the power of pictures. Photojournalism means picture. Let me give you the difference between the word picture and image or photo. Photo is taken by a camera, okay? A picture can be photo and can be a picture that is painted, picture that is drawn, okay? So you need to know that. It's really powerful. Pictures are powerful because they send messages without words. Photojournalism means taking pictures that help tell a story about events or people. And nowadays, because of smartphones, everybody can be a photojournalist. They don't need to write anything. They just need to take a picture that tells a story. Of course, the first photojournalists could never have imagined a world where a camera could fit into a small part of a portable phone. Again, because of the technology of cameras and the technology of smartphones, everybody can be a journalist. Remember that this has positive and negative impacts. If we go to lesson 2. Lesson 2 is a brief history about photojournalism. And photojournalism, we can tell that it started with the invention of the camera. And how it started by taking pictures that spread worldwide and send stories to people. Let's come here to the most important part in this lesson, the ethics of photojournalism, and you need to be able to give the differences between journalism, the written journalism ethics, and the photojournalism ethics. And before that, you need to define the word ethics. Ethics are beliefs that are used to govern a certain act. Of course, they differ from one place to another and from one culture to another. Now, photojournalism depends on 3 main ethics. Number 1, tell the truth, and that's really similar to the ethic of journalism. Tell the truth, report the truth. So the first responsibility of any photojournalist is to tell the truth, no matter what. For a photographer in the digital age, this means their images have not been changed using Photoshop. So the idea of Photoshop and other tools to change photos, this idea is not accepted at all. This is not ethical to use any Photoshop techniques or to use any AI technique to change a story or other editing software to change the story that the picture tells. Even if you're able to hide a character, a person from the story, if you're able to change something, if you're able to add colors, this is all against telling the truth. The picture should be taken in real time. Real time has to appear on the picture, not staged, posed, or reenacted. Number 2, as a photojournalist, you need to avoid bias and respect subjects. And this is also similar to journalism, which is, there is transparency, and I believe the third one was about being transparent, you know what's happening, and not to be biased, not to prefer something over something else. Photographers, like reporters, are asked to avoid stereotyping, generalizing individuals or groups to avoid their own bias as they choose their own subjects. I need you here to revise the lesson in Unit 4 that's telling or that is discussing how to check if you're biased towards a topic or no. You need to say, is it something that I favor? Is something that I like? Do I write it in favor of somebody? And so on. So treat all the subjects with compassion, respect, and dignity. Photojournalists are also asked to avoid accepting gifts, favors, and provide the complete story, including any important context, when they photograph a scene. And this is similar to accountability, transparency from journalistic ethics. Here, number 3, this is the main difference between the ethics of journalism and the ethics of photojournalism. In photojournalism, you need to respect subjects' privacy. Respect subjects' privacy, because photojournalists are often in a position to capture the most tragic circumstances. They are supposed to intrude on private moments of grief only when the public has an overriding and justifiable need to see. So, of course, they might take pictures that would show people in their saddest moments. They need to evaluate the situation and see if this photo is really needed to be published or no. This part also is debatable, and you might be asked about, should all news photos be published or no? And this is related to the subject's privacy. So photographers need to check, number 1, whether this photo will add to the picture, to the story or no. Do they respect the privacy of the people who are appearing in this picture or in this story or no? So not all news photos should be published, of course. After respecting privacy, taking the permission of the people who appear, if this photo will harm, if you remember, minimize harm, if this photo is going to harm anybody, this photo is not supposed to be published. And here, if you give examples, you can here find out examples of what happened in September 11. A lot of photos were taken, but they were not published in respect to those who appeared and who survived this crisis. Also, another incident in which a photographer was able to take a picture of someone who died minutes after this picture. So it's very important for the photojournalist to check all the requirements and to make sure that this photo deserves or needs to be published or no. We go to lesson 3. Lesson 3 in Unit 5 is about digital photography changes everything. And when we speak about digital photography, also we refer to technology, we refer to new advances and how they changed everything. Because of Photoshop now, which is a software program that allows photographers to edit and manipulate an image, this idea of photography or photojournalism was like discussed and promoted and needed ethics to govern. So nobody is supposed to use Photoshop if they're going to publish a picture unless there is a need for this. Let's say one of the people who appear in the picture does not give his consent to do what? To appear. Photoshop is considered a technology that changed photojournalism. So when we speak about technology, technology is a very broad term, so you can speak a lot. When we say technology, you speak about mobiles, you speak about softwares like Photoshop, you speak about AI generators, you speak about the camera invention and how this changed. This quote is important. Photography is our predominant means of communication. Yes, photography is now the easiest and the fastest means of communication. You will, and you might understand a whole idea, a whole story out of a picture in no time. And instead of reading a whole essay or a whole article to understand what is going on, you can understand everything through this picture or photo. Dizzying technological advances allow a mind-blowing number of images. Yes, now great number of images will be taken and posted on the social media. Of course, if you're asked to reflect on this quote, you need to tell whether you agree or disagree with the idea of just taking pictures anytime, anywhere, and posting them online, and the idea of blogosphere and bloggers and what they do. Do they have the right to take pictures of people and just post them online right away or no? As we said, now the world is full of digital photographers. Anybody with a mobile can be a photographer. Anybody can take a picture, post the picture, is delivering a message. So this is journalism or photojournalism. Nowadays we have those new terms appearing: super journalists, super teachers, super doctors. They're not doing only one job, they're doing many jobs in one time. Those are journalists, for example, who are not only writers but also cell phone photographers and video photographers. So they before like 20 years ago, and before the invention of all these new technology, we used to have a person who's only specialized in writing content, another one who will take photos, another one who will create a video. Now one person is able to do all that. And that, in my opinion, one of the negative effects of technology that affected people. Now new jobs, yes, appeared, but other jobs disappeared because of technology. Now organizations would not hire a photographer and pay money just for taking photographs because anybody else can take it. The idea of freelancing writers. Now we have this new phenomena like freelancing. You can work freely from any place, any time, to do specific jobs like freelance photographers, freelance writers, and this will not cost organizations a lot of money because it depends on one piece of work. You do the piece of work and then you get paid. You're not hired in a place that you are taking monthly salaries. Instagram brings photography and photographers to the world. Of course, with the invention of Instagram, it's much easier for journalists to post pictures and deliver information. But we need to know that there is a toll on profession. There is a fine. There is like a result for that. What is it? Is that now organizations are cutting their photojournalism jobs because, as I told you, one person can do it all. So photojournalism is expensive. It requires a lot of equipment and technological know-how, which can be used and done by only a few trained people, but everyone can use a cell phone camera. We can support this by saying that professional photographers say that they are still necessary simply because they help us see the world differently. They are trained to take photographs and they also have to use social media on their advantage rather than allowing social media to be invaded by amateur journalists. We have this quote, which is important. Professional photographers are vital. Yes, photography is vital because it's delivering stories. It saves the time. It's easily accessed. You can understand the whole story in a minute rather than reading this story that would take more than that. They bear witness, all of us. Yes, they attend the event and they deliver it as if we have attended this event. Moving to lesson 4, social media takes over. It's very important to form an opinion about social media and if social media is a true reflect of people's life. Ask yourself, do I really believe what those people are posting or no? Social media or electronic communication that allow users to create communities and share information is something that we are using every day. And we have here the development on the timeline of social media. Journalism and social media. Now here we have 1, 2, 3 things that even journalists and photojournalists need to do in order to use social media in their benefit. So number 1, they need to gather large social media followers, because gathering large media followings will allow photojournalists to post and publish their content, and they might get, if you remember, freelance jobs. So photojournalists who have large following on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter may be more attractive to employers because they can bring the audience with them to the newspaper or magazine. So now we have a new requirement for getting the job. You want to get the job, you need to have you have to have a great number of followers, so it will be easier for us to post whatever we want. Photojournalists also need to shoot documentary films. Since photojournalists are often considered the conscious of journalism world, they can extend this work into documentary filming or film that is based on a true story and factual accounts. Number 3, they might accept grants from foundations, non-profit, or the United Nations to fund their work. So they need to do now like non-profit work. If they do non-profit work, they will be famous. They will also be asked to take photos or work for organizations. Read all about it on Facebook. Now here it's explaining the idea that now whenever you're using any of the platforms, you will have a link to another platform, or you will have a link to other stories. And here social media sites journalists use. How people get the news in the digital age. You, of course, is now the digital age or the digital generation. How do you get your information? You get your information from the social media. So the social media is important. We cannot deny that. But whether we trust social media or not, that's the issue. Whether you're using trustworthy sources and websites to get the information or no. So here, news feed or the front page of Facebook that brings the most popular or the most important status on the main page. And here also the idea of clicking one story will open other windows that are related to this story. Then we move to lesson 5, which is the last lesson. It's telling about the advertisements and their types. Journalism is closely connected to advertising, of course. So, and advertising is the act of calling attention to one product, service, or need using paid space in print, television, or new websites. Now, types of ads, you need to know them. There is the display ads, there is the classified ads, and the most important kind of or type is the public service announcement. You need to know the differences between them. What's a display ad? It's an ad that you are used to seeing, usually appearing next to journalism content. And we have two types. The general ad, that's advertising things like Target, Walmart, and brand carried in stores. And then we have the retail, which is about local businesses, local cafes, and so on. What are classified ads? Those are the ads in which you find things about like cars, vehicles, household goods, and so on. And we have here the most important one, which is the public service announcement ads. What is it? It's called the PSA. It aims to spread awareness of a cause or an issue that would change unhealthy or dangerous behavior, like we all witnessed COVID-19 and how the government and non-profit organizations advertised products that are good for like maybe having stronger immune system or spreading away, or the masks, or any of these things that we need to use during COVID-19. And here in the book, we have one of the most famous PSA. It's the dummies. After this advertisement, people became more aware of the seat belts in America, and a higher number of people used the seat belt. Changing advertising to match social media. Of course, now we have the hashtags, word or phrase about a particular topic that begins with a hashtag sign for a certain campaign, and ask users to tag their posts and enter the giveaway. We have something called native content. It's important, and this is the new technique in advertising, native content, in which they advertise something in a content that you won't feel that it is away from it or strange. For example, I'll give you an example. We have like a film in which we have like a kid swimming, for example, using the pool, and we have an ad of shampoo or any product that needs to be added. So within the scene, you will feel that you are introduced to a product without having a separate advertisement. This is called narrative or native content. And here we have some comprehension questions, and we have the summary that photojournalists tell stories through images, and today's world is a world that loves images. Social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, and all those, allow people from background to quickly share their own images to the world. And this, of course, affected photojournalism positively and negatively. How positively? New technology affected photojournalism. You can speak about anybody being able to be a photojournalist, anybody being able to work as a freelancer, a writer, or a freelancer photographer. You can speak about now the speed of getting the information. A huge number or a great number of followers on social media will allow people also to advertise their products. Negatively, we can speak about cutting down those jobs and not hiring people to in organizations and just using freelancers. The need for changing and developing techniques and always finding something new to be done and something different. And then social media itself has changed the way journalists do their jobs and advertise users. Clearly, digital revolution, this is called the digital revolution, continues to change journalism in many ways. And thank you, that's the end.